I see new horizons are opening up, new feelings. I feel great in every moment. When I see the world around me, it makes me
Open to the new shades. Amazing Thailand.
สวัสดีค่ะ Welcome to a TAT webinar once again organized by the Tourism Authority of Thailand. And today is the second chance of TAT Rome to giving you information regarding the current market situation in Israel and Turkey. Along this 1 hour and a half session, if you have any questions, you can leave it at the Q&A icon on the left-hand side. But if you are watching from smartphone or tablet, the icon will be on the top of the screen. There's also a chat box where you can chat with other participants. And right now and today, we have 3 speakers with us. Let's welcome them. So the first person, คุณมาลินีนิติเกษตรสุนทร the Director of TAT Rome Office.
สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ คุณมาลินี And the next person is Kundov Kalman, our marketing representative from Israel. สวัสดีค่ะ คุณโกฟ And last but not least, please welcome คุณ Fatma Guner Ustanapala, marketing representative from Turkey.
Sawadika and good afternoon.
So here are our speakers of today. So Kun Malini will first begin with the market insight, and the rest too will give more information on their markets. So without any further ado, let's begin with the market insight by Kun Malini.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Sawadika. Welcome back again to the second TT Rome Office webinar. The first in our series covered Italian, Spanish, and Portuguese market. Today, we are going to provide you with informative market insight within Israel and Turkish market. You will learn about the community marketing, the potential trend, as well as why the Israelis are expected to rebound to Thailand faster than other markets. As for Turkish market, there's a negative impact of sex tourism in Thailand, but we are working on mitigating this image of countries. Okay, let's go to the figures. I would like to first share some figure about the number of tourist arrivals to Thailand. The number of Turkish tourists to Thailand in 2019 was about 64,000, and which was a 10% decrease from the year before in 2018. Over the last few years, Turkey has faced a lot of political and economic problems. However, if we look at the growth from 2013 to 2019, it shows an average growth of 1%. As we look at Israel, the average growth over the last 6 years has increased 6.29%, maintaining consecutive growth. But of course, like everywhere across the globe, an unforeseen disaster, the coronavirus, altered everything. Next. Here are some figures of total case and dates as of yesterday. During this time, people are not allowed to travel abroad and forced to quarantine at home to curb further spreading. In this regard, TAT has decreased direct marketing effort and in some scenarios, canceled marketing efforts with the trade partner. Nevertheless, we cannot afford to stay stagnant and vanish from the market. Rather, during this time, we will redirect our efforts to varying online platforms to enable direct consumer reach and continue to create and maintain consumer awareness of Amazing Thailand. Next, please. Okay, there are some examples of our consumer outreach effort over the last few months. The first was coloring book activity on TAT Israel Facebook page. All families are invited to participate in a contest. Children were invited to color the Thai image, while parents expressed their dreams about going to Thailand in order to win a prize. For Turkish market, the online campaign was geared toward honeymooners with a contest promoted through TAT Turkish IG and Facebook. The honeymooners have to submit their romantic photos with the hashtag Romantic Thailand through the end of May 2020. The most liked submission determines the winner. We are looking towards the future in continued hope for the current global situation, especially with some airlines resuming and border opening soon. At this stage, that TAT consider it's the right time to restart the engine. We will take great strides in our marketing effort to drive demand in the market, both B2B and B2C. We will have a joint marketing campaign with our strategic partner like airlines, tour operator, or travel agents. In terms of consumer outreach, we will create awareness by inviting media, bloggers, influencers, or celebrity to Thailand in order to make use of their social channels and followers. We will also co-act with partner on billboard, TV, or radio when possible. As time is limited for this session, I would like to pass the spotlight on my team members from Israel and Turkey. They will provide you with further detail which will be very useful for you and your business. They will tell you who is the best target segment that will come to Thailand first. They will tell you what is the new destination or product according to the new normal change. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Mr. Dov Kalman, our market representative from Israel. Dov, please.
Yes, Sawadika. Good morning from Tel Aviv. Good afternoon in Thailand. It's a great honor to be here with you all. First of all, I would like to express my solidarity, my friendship, and my love for all of you in Thailand in the travel industry. Those are tough times, but on the other hand, these are times in which we all prove who is the real winner, and I'm sure that Thailand will be the winner. We're going to talk about Israel. I will now show you a bit of the presentation that we have prepared for this wonderful occasion. But first, a little bit of the past. If you can see, it was and still is a love affair, the relationship Israel to Thailand. As you can see, the enormous growth during the last, especially 5 years, with the great result also that we joined the top 10 source markets from Europe, Middle East, and Africa, even though we are a much, much smaller population. We have only 9 million, whereas all our friends in these top 10 have much bigger populations. But we are proud to be in this club. We are close to 200,000 Israelis per year. That was, of course, before Corona. But not less important is the change of profile. If you can see here, the spending per trip of Israel is $2,800 per person per trip, whereas if you compare that to Europe, it's 2,180. So that's 30% more. We are big spenders when we come to Thailand, and especially if you compare that to the past when we were low budget backpackers. So we have gone through a big road of improving the profile. Also, the repeaters, you see that we are enormous growing as for the repeaters, almost 70% of the Israelis to Thailand are repeaters. Thailand is regarded as a second home for the Israelis. Very important to understand of how did we succeed in continuing to grow is actually by our community marketing. We say that there is no country called Israel. There are many Israels. and they're sometimes speaking different languages, different cultures. So we define each and every growth potential segment and create relevant campaigns, be it the Jewish, for example, honeymoon couples versus the Arab Israelis. 21% of the Israelis are Arabs, a very important segment. Or it's the secular Israelis versus the religious Israelis, the kosher Israelis, or be it the Israelis from Ethiopian or African background, or be it the Israelis, the seniors, or be it the LGBT, the very thriving community of the LGBT community here. So for each and every one, we speak actually a different language and we create a different campaign. Now, if you look here, what is happening during the last month already, we see that we had a tough time like everyone, but it was not comparable to Western Europe or to United States or now Brazil, for example. If you look at the right side, for example, you see the number of deaths per Israel in the Israeli population per million. We have the 267 Israelis have died, which is of course far too much, but it's very low per million, only 31. Whereas in Europe, it's around 500 per million who died of the virus. So we are very low in that respect. And we are also almost past it. This was just already a week ago. You see, Israelis are back to the beach, back to life. You can hardly feel and see it on the street that we have gone through this tough crisis. We will give you a little bit of update on what is happening, but it's difficult to give you this update because there is a lot of fake news around. Constantly, daily, almost, the airlines are publishing that they are coming back, but they cannot really come back as long as the Israeli and the national health organizations do not lift the quarantine regulations. And as long as this is the situation, all these many airlines, they will most probably then announce that they will delay again their schedule. So this is an important one. Why Israelis are expected to rebound much faster? I will not go through all the reasons. We have a lot to talk about during this short time. But I can tell you that, first of all, we are less affected, as I told you before, and we don't have the privilege that the Europeans have, for example. Europeans can take a car, they can take a train and travel within the region. We don't have that luxury. We must take a plane in order to go abroad because the other borders are mainly closed. And we are used to a bit of tension here in this region. You all know the news of Israel sometimes, and we are not as afraid as many other source markets. Of course, the strong emotional bond we spoke about earlier with Thailand is something that really brings Israelis to the knowledge they have to go back home, back to Thailand. Also very important is that we have Jewish holidays starting from the 18th of September to the 10th of October. We have a period of 3 weeks, even more, of Jewish holidays. That is the period that we travel. Of course, also in July, August, but that this year will happen much less. But in September, October, we expect the Israelis to return in big numbers. And yes, of course, for 2,000 years, the Jewish people have been traveling abroad around the world. So we are kind of used to traveling. We're not so afraid. Now, we did a survey, actually, and I'm very proud. You are the first ones to hear the results of a professional survey, which we did with a professional organization, Ma'agar Mochot. 1,000 Israelis were asked many questions. And here we come with some of the answers. Here, for example, 54% of the Israelis intend already to start flying this year. They will not wait till 2021. They will already start this year. That is not from those people who traveled last year, but for the overall population. So 54% intend to start flying. If you look at the figures of those who are frequent flyers, the ones who traveled 3 times or more, 78% already plan their trip in 2020. Now, we asked one of the questions, what is your main consideration? And they had to choose only one when deciding your preferred travel destination in 2020. And this is a big surprise. We were certain that the answers would be the social distancing and the protocols, etc. But no, of course they look at the figures of the destination. How did they go through the crisis? But then the second thing is the prices, the value of money. Where is the most attractive offer available? And then what is my love affair to the destination? If I wanted to go to a destination X, I will go to that destination. Again, 21% said so. And only 8% picked the protocol and 6% the booking and cancellation conditions. So this is very surprising how Israelis, the mind of the Israelis, are already beyond this crisis. We asked, of course, about the short haul and medium destinations, and also the long haul destinations, the destinations of more than 5 hours of flight. And here, actually, Thailand came up #1, even though you see USA is the #1 on this outcome. But in fact, to the USA, many Israelis travel for family reasons or for business reasons, not for leisure. For pure leisure, Thailand is the leader, and if you look at all the others, far beyond Thailand. And then also very interesting change probably in what you may expect is that if in the past the fastest growing, the fastest segment of the Israeli market of families, we expected, and the survey gave indeed that answer as well, that this year we will see mainly couples. So it will be couples more than families that will travel abroad in this year. Very important to keep that in mind in your activities. Now, we also asked, how do you intend to make your travel arrangements? Not only to Thailand, but in general. And it's basically only 24% who said that they are going to book through a travel agent or tour operator. And basically all the others are going direct or internet or via OTA. So this is also very important. The market is really changing in that respect rapidly. Now, some other growth potential segments important for you. We spoke about the romantic couples, but there's also, of course, the first timers, the post-army guys, those who have little, they are a little affected by the financial aspect of the crisis. We will travel very fast. And then, of course, I will also would like to mention the doctors, the nurses, the pharmacists, everyone in the industry of health. They are not financially affected, but they are in big need of travel. I also want to highlight the Arab honeymooners. They are really waiting. I get daily phone calls. When is Thailand opening the doors? We want to travel. They start in August with their big weddings. So this is important. Then a little bit about the challenges. What can happen? What can go? What are the things that we need to take care of? Of course, the question #1 is, when will Thailand open its borders again for Israelis? When will Israelis allow those coming back from Thailand to be accepted from Thailand? Well, will visa-free upon arrival be reinstalled? All these questions. And then one more important one is the Israeli airline or Thai airline. Hopefully, we will see a Thai airline, whatever Thai Airlines or any other, flying directly to Tel Aviv. And then, of course, what will happen with the prices? You saw the importance of the prices. We hope that you will not immediately increase the prices, but wait a little bit. Then what will happen regarding the new normal? I don't want to go into all the details. I gladly send you the details afterwards, but very important, of course, it's the boutique hotels, the guest houses, the beach resorts. They will be even more attractive than ever before. Soft adventure in nature. This is something that we're gonna emphasize more than anything else. of course, then you have the issue of social distancing, no problem when you do hiking, biking, etc. We will put a lot of emphasis on the local, authentic, community-based tourism. One term that and let's continue with the new destinations and products as well. But let me go over here. What will be the strategy to recover the market? So we created a roadmap in order to find out what to do first and how to do it. So first of all, the first stage is the retreat period, the stage we are almost leaving already right now. So our main emphasis in marketing is keep the travel dream alive through inspirational, activating, and educational activities. So we spoke already, Melanie mentioned already the contest that we did for families in which they had to paint pictures. Wonderful, fantastic campaign. We did a video, you will see it afterwards, Thailand Will Be Back, in which 9 people from all the different communities of Israel spoke about their Thai dream, and that was distributed all over the country. And then, of course, the next stage will be the moment that we have the flights again, and that will most probably happen in August or September. We will invite opinion makers and then hopefully with you create attractive offers and publish mass campaigns. Our first one will be the one in which we welcome the Israeli health fighters. We're going to set up a mass campaign for this segment. The last stage, which will probably happen in 2021, we will completely redesign the new Thailand product and put our emphasis on quality tourism. I will give you a few tips. Once again, I rush through everything, but we have a little time, but a few important issues. Don't forget to constantly reconnect to your partners and tour operators in Israel, to everyone dealing with the Israeli market. Try to come up with special rebound offers. Keep yourself in the mind of the Israelis, of the Israeli tour operators. Reach and show maximum flexibility. Also very important, crucial, regarding when your clients have to prepay and how they can easily cancel. And then, of course, for the direct market, the direct consumers, is create positive images, less the issue of how you're going to clean everything. That is very important as well. But more important is the smiles, the appealing views. People go on vacation not for a medical treatment. So they want to see, wow, I'm going to be in Thailand a renewed person. Come up with special offers and join us, please, as we have done in the past in our campaigns, hosting bloggers and fan trips. This is something, by the way, I must say, it's thanks to you that we grow so fast. You continue to support us, and we are very glad to also hear from many of the partners that are listening right now that it's actually a win-win, that the moment that you support us and we create your awareness, that you will get more Israelis. Now, the last, not least, we spoke about the video. I would love to show you, I hope we have the time, to show you this small little video of 3 minutes of 9 Israelis talking about their love affair with Thailand. Last but not least, you see my mail. Feel free constantly to contact us, and we will upload any positive message on this market. Thank you so much.
שנייה לפני שהתיישבנו כולנו בבתים והסתגרנו, היינו אמורים לטוס ביחד לתאילנד, וזה התבטל ואנחנו כל כך מבואסים, אבל... אנחנו מקווים לחזור לשם מיד אחרי הקורונה. אני מאוהב בתרבות, באוכל, בריחות, בנופים. נופים? אתה זוכר את הנופים? איך שזה נגמר, אנחנו טסים שוב. בדוק. אנחנו כבר ביקרנו כמה פעמים בתאילנד, ואנחנו ממש מחכים לחזור עם הילדים. עכשיו שהם גדולים יותר אפשר לטייל בצפון המדינה ולראות את המקלים המהממים שיש ליד צ'אנג מאי. והכי חשוב, אנחנו ממש מתגעגעים לכל האנשים המקסימים. בכל מקום שהלכנו, קיבלו אותנו בזרועות פתוחות. אנחנו ממש מקווים לחזור בקרוב. מתגעגעים.
سواليكا اليوم الطقس كتير حلو وللأسف احنا قاعدين بالبيت بسبب الحجر الصحي بس أكيد أول ما تخلص أزمة الكورونا بدنا نروح على تايلاند.
وبس على تايلاند، وإحنا بنتمنى إنه هاي الأزمة تمرق كتير بسرعة. وين نروح؟
على تايلاند.
רום זוכר שהיינו בתאילנד, איפה אתה הכי מתגעגע?
וואי, אני מתגעגע למים הסלולים ולישון על המים באגם צ'אולן. למה את הכי מתגעגעת?
ברור שקופנגן, זה בסט תאילנד.
כשכל זה ייגמר, חוזרים לתאילנד.
כאחד שמטייל בעולם ומתעד את המסעות שלו, המדינה שאני הכי מתגעגע אליה זה תאילנד. בגלל האנשים שישר גורמים לך להרגיש בבית, והדבר שאני הכי מתגעגע זה להעים. ברגע שאתה יושב על החוף, שותה לך איזה משהו קר, אתה שוכח מהכל, מכל הצרות, אין על תאילנד.
במשך הרבה מאוד שנים, הישראלים הגיעו לתאילנד בהמוניהם. מאוד אהבו את המקום, את האנשים הנחמדים, את האווירה המיוחדת. כרגע אנחנו בתקופה קצת שקטה, אבל אני בטוח שבקרוב מאוד הישראלים יחזרו לכאן ובגדול. תאילנד הפכה להיות חלק מהישראליות. ואני משוכנע שאנחנו עוד נראה כאן הרבה מאוד תיירים מישראל שיבואו וייהנו מהמקום המדהים הזה.
תאילנד בשבילי זה כמו לנסוע לגן עדן.
אנחנו אוהבים את תאילנד ורוצים לחזור אליה בגלל התאילנדים.
צאו לתאילנד בכיף.
תאילנד אהובתי, יש לי כל כך הרבה זיכרונות מדהימים ממך. אני מאוד מקווה שנוכל לחזור אלייך בקרוב, והפעם אפילו לתקופה ארוכה יותר.
שלום לכולם. בדיוק לפני שנה, בחודש אפריל 2019, טסנו לתאילנד.
היינו בחוף ריילי ביץ' ובאי המקסים קולנטה, ובתקופה המאוד מאתגרת שאני פשוט נתונה בה, אפשר ממש רק לחלום לרגע הבא שנוכל לקפוץ לתאילנד.
מתגעגעים לתאילנד.
That was a very impressive video presentation from Israeli market, and I hope that we can see that Israel is looking forward to welcome back to Thailand. Some points that from Israeli and Turkey market, we affected by the coronavirus, as you guys know, but we keeping everyone's on social media to keep Thailand as the top of mind destination. Moving on to Israeli market, last year we received around 195,000 people from Israel to Thailand, so it makes plus 3.61%. And for the expectation that the Israeli will be back to Thailand is around September, which is a Jewish holiday on during 18th of September to 10th of October, 3 weeks long. And for the target segment that we will target on a high-end families, luxury repeaters, Arab honeymoons, and also medical staffs. But we predict that the couples will mostly the group that will travel back to Thailand. And also for the strategies that Kundov mentioned that will bring back to the tourists is to 4R. So retreat, to build the inspiration like emotional marketing, and also a resort to rebuild the confidence, do cross the marketing, and also reconnect with the partners like B2B, B2C, and also for the airlines for the mass campaign, and to redesign the products of Thailand to be ready for 2021. So some tips that Kundov mentioned. So maybe we can reconnect with the partners in Israeli and be flexible for the financial commitment and also cancellations, and also the rebound offer might be interested as well. So that was all for Israeli market. Let's move on to Turkish market. So I think Kun Fatma is ready.
Yes, thank you very much.
Fatma, over to you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much. Sawadee ka, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you can see my presentation right now. Okay. So before talking about the arrival numbers of previous years, I would like to inform you a little about the economic situation that Turkey is in, not only during the pandemic, but also a couple of years before it, to analyze the arrival numbers better. Turkey faced multiple political and economic problems in the last few years. The main issues were volatile growth rates, high levels of international debt, and political fights over monetary policy. Turkey's fragile security environment is also a growing concern. Crisis with USA, over 10 million Syrian refugees living in the country, terrorism over the south border are other issues to keep Turkey struggling. As a tourism country, Turkey, who became the sixth most visited country in the world with over 52 million visitors last year, now has to fight against pandemic. In the last 2 years, Turkish lira lost value almost 90% against US dollar, around 65% against euro, and exactly 200% against Thai baht. I would like to inform you about some updated facts about of economy also. GDP growth rate is expected as -5% for 2020. Unemployment rate in general population is over 13%, while young population unemployment is over 24%. As you will see in a few minutes how successfully Turkey fought against COVID-19, unfortunately we cannot say the same for economic support to private sector. Now let's see some numbers about outbound market and arrivals to Thailand. In the first chart, you are seeing the comparison between the total outbound travelers from Turkey and numbers of arrivals to Thailand from Turkey in the last 4 years. Although we are losing arrival numbers in 2018 and 19, we still managed to keep the market. Since the last 4 years, we're very unfortunate and full of crisis in Turkish market. It is not fair to evaluate the arrival numbers for each year separately. That's why you can see the average of the last 4 years numbers below. Number of Turkish citizens traveling to Thailand increased almost 6%, while the number of total outbound travelers from Turkey increased only little more than 1.5%. Our market is still going strong. Our market share is still going strong in the tornado of economic and political crisis, while the competitors struggling with very small numbers of arrivals. Now I would like to explain a little bit about the perception and the reputation of Thailand in Turkish market. Thailand is the most popular destination, in fact the second most preferred long-haul destination after USA in Turkish market. Thailand is also a visa-free destination for Turkish travelers, which is very important when you consider Turkish citizens can travel only 65 countries without a visa. And you may also guess that most of these countries are not touristic destinations. Thailand is also very easy to access. Before pandemic, national flag carrier Turkish Airlines had 3 flights per day to Bangkok and daily flights to Phuket. Besides these direct flights options, we also did benefit the frequent flights of Middle Eastern and other airlines to Bangkok, Phuket, and other destinations such as Chiang Mai, Krabi, not only from Istanbul, but also from other major cities like the capital city Ankara, Izmir, and Adana, with only one stopover. So after all, you may ask why the arrival numbers are so small for a country of 83 million population. The major issue is economic, of course. Traveling abroad, which means spending in foreign currencies, is mainly directed by the economic conditions in Turkey. Another thing to consider that Turkey is also a tourism country with a very rich variety in terms of tourism products. We are surrounded by 3 seas with many resorts and hotels on the shores. There is also a very strong tradition of owning or renting a summer house located at the shorelines or mountains to spend the summer. The most of the outbound travels are to neighbor countries and short-haul destinations in Europe, basically. I have to say that we are seeing significant improvements on arrival numbers to Thailand when the economy goes well in Turkey. So, what is our target for Thailand? To attract the quality travelers who spend more and willing to experience more. The target for quality travelers are mainly women who are decision makers when it comes to travel. We are focusing on high-end travelers who have bigger budget to spend. Unfortunately, the image of Thailand is needed to be improved in order to attract more quality travelers in Turkey. We have been working hard for the last few years to change the negative image, and I can say we improved a lot. Sex tourism image is our biggest enemy to beat in Turkish market. Another area we are focusing is introducing new destinations to the market to attract more travelers with different tastes and encourage the repeaters to discover more. Repeaters are very important for us also, since they are the 60% of all travelers to Thailand from Turkey. Now let me update you on COVID-19 situation in Turkey. Effective treatment methods and a successful healthcare system laid the basis for a low COVID-19 death toll in Turkey compared to many European countries. It is important to control the cases without exceeding the capacity of health systems. Even during the peak of the pandemic, the half of the hospital capacities were still available in Turkey. And it all began in March, the first case being officially confirmed on 11th of March, and the first death came on 15th of March. Turkey were locked down domestically within just 3 days after the first case. All schools, universities, barbershops, restaurants, parks, and museums all closed. And within 2 weeks, all international connection was cut. Strict regulations for all citizens and curfews applied citizens under 20 years old and over 65 years old. When we arrived in April, it was confirmed that COVID-19 had spread all over Turkey. And as of 14th of April, we have reached the peak. And when it comes to May, plateau reached on May 3, and by 11th of May, controlled social life started as the first phase of normalization with very strict measurements. Barbershops, beauty salons, and gyms reopened. Restaurants, parks, museums, and domestic flights will be opened as of the 1st of June as a part of second phase, again with very strict measurements. Now let's see the latest numbers about the pandemic in Turkey as of yesterday. The total number of cases is almost 161,000, and the total number of deaths is 4,461. These numbers are giving hope to all nations, but the government is still keeping the restrictions tight to avoid the second wave. Okay, let me inform you about the borders, flights, and safety regulations. Wearing masks outside the house is compulsory for all citizens. Masks are distributed by the government free of charge to all citizens, so we don't have any excuse for not wearing the mask. And there is a penalty of €500 per person who are not obeying the social distancing rules and not wearing the mask. An application for smartphones are developed by the Ministry of Health to track the citizens' health conditions. This application is checking users' health condition every day with a little quiz and inform the user about the risk level of the area that they are in. Psychosocial support mechanism to be initiated to give support to citizens in face-to-face, by telephone, or online meetings to reduce the psychological impact of the pandemic in short and medium term. Entry and exit to 15 big cities are not still allowed, including Istanbul. In these 15 big cities, there are curfews and lockdowns, we can say, starting from every Friday night till Sunday night. Citizens under 20 and above 65 years old are not allowed to go out from their houses. Both groups have 6 hours per week to go out during the curfews. Public transportation are also operating with only 25% capacity of the vehicle. Okay, I think you wanted this much more than that. Turkish land borders will be opened in June, but the exact date and the measurements are not announced yet. We are expecting to receive this information next week, probably on Monday. Domestic flights will start on 4th of June, and national flag carrier Turkish Airlines will start international flights as of 10th of June to 10 destinations. The flights will be increased gradually in July and August. We hope the flights to Thailand will start in July if both countries agreed on. Besides all social distancing, mask wearing, and sanitizing procedures, which are almost same in all countries, below actions announced by the government. Please note that these regulations are still pending the approval of President Erdogan. Turkish travelers will have a sanitary passport or ID along with their normal passports. This is the same procedure that the European Union is working and discussing on it. The travel insurance will be compulsory for both domestic and international travels. Okay, let's talk about the change of potential growth segments. The most precious element of human nature is absolutely freedom. Unfortunately, we understand better now how much the word freedom, which we have always expressed, is valuable. Online surveys are showing that people are associating freedom with traveling the most, in addition to the travels and holiday plans that have not been made since January 2020. The psychological crisis caused by staying at home will cause the demand for tourism to reach enormous levels in coming period. Travel is likely to return first to domestic markets, then to nearest neighbors, before expanding across regions, and then finally across countries to welcome the return of journeys to long-haul international destinations. Long-haul travels will be expected to accelerate in 2021 earliest. IATA reported that 40% of the passengers plan to wait at least 6 months for air travel after the spread of COVID-19 outbreak is taken under control. Unfortunately, there are not much reliable researches or surveys for post-pandemic travel behavior in Turkey, but I would like to share one of them, which was done by Turkish Stats. For this survey, opinions of Turkish citizens aged between 18 and 60 years old who had middle income level were consulted. 41% of the respondents stated that they made a vacation plan for this summer period, while 59% did not have any vacation plan. 18% of those who will go on vacation plan to go their summer houses. Among the respondents who are going on a vacation, 34% of them prefer domestic destinations, while 26% are planning a vacation abroad. 40% have not decided yet where to spend their holidays. So, who will travel first? The sector will face a gradual return to travel over the coming months as a new normal emerges before vaccine becomes available on mass scale, large enough to inoculate billions of people. We are expecting 3 segments who will travel first in place. Repeaters, who are our loyal customers, who were the first ones already contacted travel agencies for their next trip to Thailand. Honeymooners are also the second big segment that we are expecting to travel first, since all the wedding parties were cancelled and majority of the couples just signed the papers to get married. We know that the honeymoon trip is crucial in Turkish market, and the outbound honeymoon market size is over 30,000 pax per year. And then finally, the high-end FITs who will look for exclusive private services in safe destinations. Let's talk about the reactions and their preferences. Destinations which provide travelers strong reassurances during their travel will be preferred first. Looking for reliable certification like SHA for hygiene and international standards. Avoiding being in crowds and flights with stopovers at big airports. Preferring house and resident rentals instead of staying at hotels which are 3-star and lower categories. Preferring trusted international chain hotels instead of local chains or independent hotels. Increasing request for more private services and facilities, more sensitive about sustainability and environment-friendly products. Flexible booking and cancellation policies is also very important. Now let's talk about the new normal and the new Thai destinations and products. The pandemic has brought new routines. This is a new normal. New normal would include standards and protocols such as social distancing at airports, masks on board, digital check-in, contactless payment, and rigorous hygiene, among other things. Standards for hygiene, health, comfort, and safety for customers will be higher than ever before. Turkish market is traveling mainly to Bangkok, Pattaya, and for the last 2 years to Phuket. The demand for less known destinations may increase like Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai, Krabi, Koh Samui, Koh Phangan, even Koh Chang, Koh Kood, and Koh Samet. Travelers will look for private pool villa accommodation for luxury segment, private transportation, and most of them will avoid shuttles and public transportation, avoid indoor crowded shows and events, prefer private or small group activities such as cooking, traditional arts, yoga, etc., and more open air sightseeing instead of closed indoor museums. Outdoor, green tourism, local and slow life will be the trend. Okay, I will give you some strategy and implementation to recover the market. As we move from crisis management to recovery, it is critical that we put in the health, safety, and security of travelers and tourism workforce at the center. Restoring consumer confidence is the greatest accelerant to increase travelers' demand. Safety has always been top priority for travelers, and the need to feel safe will only become more important in the months and years ahead. As the owners and operators of hotels, restaurants, theme parks, venues, or any kind of touristic place reopen, travelers will want to know what steps these properties are taking in order to keep them healthy. The end will be when we have the vaccine. Until then, we have to work together, support each other, stay strong, and take all necessary steps to keep the sector alive. The travelers needed to be convinced. As Thailand, we have a safe image during the pandemic. SHA certificate program was already announced to Turkish trade and consumers, and we had very good feedbacks. We recommend 4 steps to take to get the travelers back earliest. Training staff and preparing the facilities according to the new hygiene and social distance rules. Providing a safe experience for all travelers. Rebuilding trust and confidence. Stimulating the demand with hard sale campaigns and promotions. Now we have some tips for trade. We are focusing on Thailand is safe and ready to welcome you. The first step we should take is to convince the consumer, as I said before, that Thailand is safe to travel. Until now, we have a very good image of safe country with modern and wide healthcare facilities with serious precautions. We need to inform the consumer about the precautions taken and preparations made to keep them healthy and safe with Thailand borders. Another important point is consumer also need to know that they will be welcomed by Thai people. If the locals stay away from them and thinking that they brought COVID-19 with them, or if they do not welcome them, this situation will turn against us. And one of our strongest weapons, Thai hospitality and Thai smile image, will fall apart. With this perspective, we need to focus on Thai hospitality, use this theme on our publications, media posts, social media posts, and etc. B2B communication is also very important. We recommend you to inform the tour operators or travel agencies properly about the post-pandemic regulations and preparations you did on regular basis. You can invite them for inspections or send them the images or videos of your property, facilities, or the services and the certificate that they can use on their social media, website, or online catalog. Guaranteeing full refund or flexible booking conditions will encourage the tour operators to promote you more. Now we have some tips for FIT tourists also. The day we are in also an ideal time to inspire people who are imprisoned at home for weeks to plan their dream trips abroad. Social media is everything. Since the consumer is spending more and more time on online channels and platforms, the best way to reach them is to be active on popular online channels such as social media like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or online newspapers, forums, etc. And PR through the influencers or celebrities who travel Thailand before, online advertisements, editorials, content creating for forums, organizing lucky draws or pools, giving vouchers will work perfectly to reach the target. As TAT, we are using all mentioned ways above to reach to convince the consumer. Training and informing tour operators and travel agencies on regular basis with webinars, Zoom meetings, newsletters, quality content for social media, which including boosting also to reach bigger numbers, TV and outdoor advertisement, which we are planning to do in September and October, online campaigns and lucky draws, paid partnerships with influencers. Please keep in mind that we are always here and ready to assist you. We are ready to share your posts or stories about your properties or services at TAT Turkey's social media channels, ready to assist you to make B2B or B2C connections in Turkey, updating you about the new travel regulations in Turkey. You can contact me anytime on the email ID you see on the screen. Before I finish, I would like to talk about the challenges little. In accordance with the hygiene rules of the pandemic period, guests will be accepted below the capacity in airplanes, hotels, restaurants, and all other places. In addition, it is necessary to disinfect the facilities frequently, use disposal equipment as much as possible, and provide hygiene training to the staff accordingly. All these details will definitely be reflected in the prices. At this point, if the sector increased the prices dramatically, it is inevitable to slow the recovery. Limited capacity, social distancing, cancelled festivals or events may cause disappointment among consumers. They may think that, will it be fun again in Thailand? At this point, we can offer limited capacity VIP parties with 10 or 20 people instead of hundreds of thousands of people, or private dining experiences instead of buffets. It is all about how we present it. With a correct image policy, we can convince the consumer that Thailand is still fun, full of adventure and new experiences. We are passing through the times that we all have to change our lives. We have a term called new normal now. This means travelers are also open to the idea of change and ready for new perspectives. Thank you very much for listening to me. I hope I could inform you about the situation of Turkish market and hope this webinar will help you to recover faster. Kapganaka. And now please welcome our MC back.
Thank you very much, Kun Fatma. So actually for the Turkey, we face a lot of, the country faced a lot of economic and political crisis, but however, the number of tourist arrival to Thailand was still 69,000. And good news that the border will be open in June, and Turkish Airways, which is the national carrier, is starting to fly from Turkish to the rest of the world already. And also with the Thailand, so Thailand has to improve the image of Thailand in Turkish market, and will be more focusing on women since they are a decision maker. And also the outbound traveler will have to keep the social distancing and also follow the policy of safety and hygiene. And more importantly, if the Turkish has to fly out to the country, they have to have health passport besides the original passport. And also at the very first stage, the government encouraged their citizens to travel domestically first, and then followed by short haul and long haul destination respectively. And also for the repeaters, the honeymoon and high-ends can be our target to welcome them to Thailand. But there are very high concern of safety and hygiene, social distancing, and also destinations and products that Turkish market is interested is Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai, Krabi, Koh Samui, Koh Phangan, and the products will be more slow life, and also the local is the trend. And for the strategy, Kun Fatma has already informed that first, let's build a confidence between Turkish, and also to create the demand, and also followed by the sell campaigns or promotions. Some tips for Thai private sectors to communicate with travel tour operators and also travel agents to ensure that Thailand is safe and ready to welcome Turkish people. And also it has to be a flexibility on booking and also cancellation conditions. Engage with the consumers by using social media will help a lot to draw the attention of Turkish market. That was all for Turkish market as well. Now it's time for the Q&A. If you have any questions that haven't submitted yet, you can do so by clicking the icon Q&A on the left-hand side. But if you're watching from smartphone or tablets, the icon will be on the top of the screen. So now let's welcome back all the speakers on screen for the Q&A. Okay. So now we have everyone, and let's begin with the first question today. As now Israel has 14 lists of green countries to start traveling, Thailand will have a chance in the list. Maybe this one Kundov can answer.
Okay, thank you very much for that question. It's of course the question of $1 million, which will be the question, which will be those green countries that are going to sign a bilateral agreement between each other. It's daily news actually which of those countries are going to be there. We are talking right now about 5 countries: Cyprus, Greece, Austria, Georgia, Seychelles. All those short and medium range destinations. As for now, no long haul destination is being discussed yet. I don't expect anything will happen as long as there will not be any direct flights. I assume that the Israelis, as well as the Thai, will require that there will be direct flights. And then the most important thing is, when will the two governments actually, the representatives of the government, start talking about the arrangements that they expect from each other? This is a diplomatic thing, a lot of political pressure. We hope that this will happen as soon as possible. As long as this doesn't happen, we can't really move. My personal expectation is that nothing will happen during the month of June for travel to Thailand. I don't expect that Israel will be ready to change the regulations. I'm not sure about Thailand either. But I do expect that in July and certainly in August, we will have these arrangements between the two countries. But before going up to the next question, if you allow me, there was one issue that I forgot in my presentation to highlight, and that is, where do we expect to see the growth of the Israeli market? Is it okay if I answer this one?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. Good, thank you so much. So, as I mentioned before, which is a difference to many other markets, we don't have one market, one segment. We have many different kind of Israeli tribes, if you can so say so, or Israeli communities, and everyone with its own dreams and expectations. So, if I divide it among those most important ones, the first timers, the post-army, the ones who are less affected by the crisis, they will travel especially to the island resorts, to Phuket, Kopangan, tremendously popular in Israel, but also to Pai, to Khao Sok, which becomes very popular as well, and of course Bangkok. This segment will not travel to Thailand without Bangkok. Then we spoke about the high-end families and the cross-generation, meaning the grandparents with their grandchildren. Also here they will go to high-end products in Samui, Phuket, Koh Chang, Koh Kood, but also Chiang Mai. We spoke about the medical industry, the doctors, nurses, etc. Here we expect that the main traffic will be around Bangkok, meaning Pattaya, Krabi, Koh Samet, Phuket, and of course also Kanchanaburi and Bangkok. All those destinations that you can reach, Hua Hin, of course, all those destinations that can easily be reached. We spoke about the Arab honeymooners, very different. The Arab honeymooners, they have their route. They go to Pattaya, Krabi, Phuket, again, Khao Sok and Bangkok. That is their route, and that is where they dream of going as soon as possible. Last but not least, we spoke about the affluent silver hair tourists, the young by heart seniors in the age group of 58 and 68. Here we are going to stress especially the slow travel, and that will be around Chiang Mai, Pai, Sukhothai. Those will be the main areas of that public, but also Hua Hin and Koh Samet. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Kundo, for a very informative information. So let's move on to the next question. So I think this one is for you again, Kundo. So when Israel's government allowed to have international traveling?
We expect that within the next few days, the Israeli government will announce the opening of some destinations. As a matter of fact, different to Bangkok, Ben Gurion Airport, our international airport, has been open all the time. There have been flights continuously to some destinations, but of course, it doesn't really count as long as there is the quarantine regulations on both sides. Israel is now, as I mentioned, discussing this with several destinations. We expect that within next week, we will start seeing in June already traffic to Cyprus, to Seychelles, to Georgia, to Austria maybe, and that will start real soon. Then if that goes well, then the second level will come most probably in the beginning of July.
I see. So what is the quarantine condition once the Israelis back to the country?
Well, as for now, it's 2 weeks, 2 weeks at home. And I mean, by the way, Israel was among the first countries in the world that started with that regulation. I was fighting against it because Thailand was one of the first destinations that everyone had to go in quarantine. And that helped enormously. We were very fast in the reaction. And until now, until this very moment, everyone returning from abroad has to be for 2 weeks at home in the quarantine. But as I mentioned, I assume that this will start changing within the next week or two.
I see. Okay, then let's move on to the next question. Any majority change of family market behavior for post-COVID? Who would like to begin to answer first?
Ladies first.
Okay, thank you. The family segment for Turkish market is the segment that we want to improve. So as of now, we don't have much families traveling to Thailand, but for the post-COVID, I think the major change will be the families with children will decrease. Traveling to Thailand will decrease in short term, but after the vaccine available, this will quickly recover for my market.
What about Israeli market? Is it the same?
More or less, I would like to make a distinction between the middle class families, the mass market of the families, and the high end families, as well as the what I mentioned before, the cross generation families, the grandparents with their children. So let's start with the first, the middle class families. I expect that we will not see them in 2020 in Thailand for two main reasons. The first reason is that they are mostly affected by the financial impact of the crisis. These middle class parents, they are paying a high payment for being closed at home for such a long time and having no income or very little income. So they most probably will delay. And the second reason is that basically we finished most of the holiday periods already for the school holidays. So July, August, most probably that is too early, and September, October is a very short period. So I do expect, though, that we will see a lot of high-end families that will travel. They are less affected financially, and they are waiting to be together, especially with the grandparents who could not meet their grandchildren for a long time. So we expect here we will see a growth within the mass. We will see a decrease, but what we saw, and that I mentioned before, the big increase this year will be from couples. And we saw that also in the survey. Very interesting to see such a growth of couples who dream about going back to Thailand. Last sentence, 2021, I expect a huge increase of families. Then the Israeli families will bounce back again, and all those that could not travel in 2020 will travel in 2021.
Okay, I think that's a good sign for our Israeli market. Let's move on to the next question. Okay, this is for both of you. Who are the main TO, TA, OTA in Israel and Turkey?
Okay, let me give you quick names, but for detailed information, just drop me an email. I can send you the list of it with contacts. The major tour operators, if you can note down, ETS, Travel Zone, and Fly Express, Jolly Tour, and Pronto Tour. So
maybe you can repeat it again.
Okay, ETS, Jolly Tour, Pronto Tour, Travel Zone, Fly Express. The last two companies has also offices in Bangkok, so you can contact them face to face also. But just send me the email. I can send you the full list.
Okay. And what about Dove for you?
Well, I will not answer that question, because if I answer the question, someone is going to kill me today. If I forget one name or don't mention one name, and that one is by chance in the audience, that's my last day today. So I will not give any names. We have several. We have several big OTAs. We have several big wholesalers. We have a very big one that has an office in Bangkok as well as branches here in Israel. We have specialized niche operators that are specialized on specific segments of the market. So we have basically a long list, and like Fatma said, the same with me. Just send me a note, a quick note, and I will gladly share that information with all the details of the decision makers of each and every tour operator that you may contact.
Okay. And what about the OTA? Is there any big name of the OTA in the area?
There are several, but please do.
You won't name it again, right?
I'm not going to get into there. I want to live. You know, if I give the list and one is not missing, it's no. So I gladly, there is the list with the OTAs, the tour operators, the wholesalers, the niche operators, everything at your. I will gladly share that with everyone.
Okay, Kun Fatma, what about you for the OTA?
OTA. Okay, I'm taking the risk though. Yeah. Hotels Pro, which is known as Met Global. But most of the tour operators are already turning into an OTA in the market. So, but the oldest and the well known is Met Global.
Met Global. Okay, so if you would like to get the list, you can email both of them to get the full list because they won't name all. Okay,
Sure.
so let's move to the next question. Okay, this one is for Kun Fatma. Which area in Bangkok for Turkey market would like to stay?
Before, they prefer to stay around Sukhumvit area. But in the last few years, we see them, they are staying on the riverside and they just looking for easy access to public transportation. So within a reasonable distance to major attractions and easy to access to public transportation, there is no limitation for district in Bangkok.
I see. Okay. Yeah, everywhere in Bangkok.
Yeah.
Easy access is the key. And
Yes.
also, attraction is the key as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's move on to the next question. Okay, so this one is for Kundov. Chiang Mai is the top destination in Thailand for Israeli tourists. Please advise some activity for hotel to pull them back quickly in Q3 and 4 in 2020. So two
Thank you so
questions.
much for.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you for that question. That's an important one indeed. Chiang Mai is continuously growing on the list of most preferred destination. If I'm not mistaken, it's number 3 on the Israeli market as preferred destinations. And we are, especially in this year, we will do a lot to promote Chiang Mai. We believe that Chiang Mai is a excellent destination, especially for slow travel. I mean, you can stay in Chiang Mai a week and longer and do daily activities and enjoy the local atmosphere, the authentic atmosphere of Chiang Mai. And that is especially true for the niche segment that I mentioned before, 2 of them. One would be what we call the silver hair tourist generation, the ones of the age group of, let's say, 58 to 68. Those ones that do not want to rush and go from place to place, and are not even less interested maybe in beach as such. They want to get an intellectual inspiration and learn about culture. There's no better place to do that in Chiang Mai. What we need in Chiang Mai especially is services that are available also for the individual, the FITs, or one couple, 2 couples or 3 couples who want to travel together and they want a private car driver to take them to show them around. That is a kind of service that we need to push much better, and then with some kind of daily activities that they can do when they are there, and then of course combine that with Pai and Mae Hong Son, as well as with Sukhothai in the south. This whole area, actually, we believe, can be a second Thailand, a new destination for those who especially are in the age group that have a more intellectual interest. And of course, especially in the post-COVID period, this is the place without the big masses and the mass events. This is the place. Thank you so much for that question.
Okay. And also maybe would you like to talk more about the activities for like the couples if they are coming back on like Q4 and Q3?
You ask me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that for the couples, what they are interested in, especially, is the issue of soft adventure activities. They are the ones that love to do activities, be it hiking or trekking or jeep tours or whatever, all that stuff, rafting. That is for that, and then of course the issue of cooking classes and all these kind of activities that they would love to do, water sports, etc. in the south. That is what is for them of most importance, and that will replace some of the mass activities that might be still closed during 2020, or let's say the parties, the big parties, the full moon party, for example, that most probably will not take place for quite some time. So we have to find alternative activities for this very important segment.
Okay. Thank you very much, Kundo. I think we have one last question over here. Okay. Would 4-star local brand resort ever have a chance in Turkish market since normally they prefer international chains? Kun Fatma?
Yes, definitely can have a chance in Turkish market, but maybe we need to push. We need to make some little PR, or we need to make some B2B connections with the trade in Turkish market also. Because you can start with the trade. We know that the reservations of post-pandemic, we know that the reservations through trade will be increased. So if you can contact me, I can send you some contacts that you can make contracts for the next season. Because if the trade will use you, that means you will have Turkish, you will have known in Turkish market. And if you can send me some images or videos, we can happily share it on our social media channels, so we can make a little promotion for you, and that will be a nice example for other 4-star local brands. 4-star is below 3-star and lower category hotels. We know that in the first place, tourist travelers will not prefer, but 4-star has an image of secure and safe. So I'm sure that you will have a chance in Turkish market.
Okay. Kun Fatma, would you think if they like do some hotel inspections and also, like just to communicate the local tour operators in Turkey that, the hotel is safety and has safety and hygiene, would that be helping them?
Sure. As I mentioned in my presentation, the SHA certificate is very important, and the Turkish trade is tour operators are taking it very seriously. So if you have that certificate, and if you are confident about it, then no worries, Turkish people will stay with you.
Okay, thank you, Kun Fatma. So yeah, maybe the safety and health administrations organized by the TAT might help you to ensure and encourage the confidence among the tourists, not only the Turkish market, but all over the country as well.
Sure.
So I think we have every questions in the list already, and that's all for the TAT Rome session for today. Thank you, the audience, for joining us. You can watch the session again if you missed something. You can watch it again by using the same link and access code. But if you'd like to watch it from the previous session or the next session, you can do so by visiting us at tourismthailand.org/webinar. And also today, thank you for all the speakers today, Kun Malini, Kun Fatma, and also Kun Do, for a very information regarding Israel and Turkish market. And I hope this one will be useful for you. Just to reminder that if you have watching us, and you can send us the feedback by clicking the evaluation icon just to let us know what you think. And also, like we mentioned during the session, that if you have any questions regarding Israel market and also Turkish market, you can contact our TAT Rome staff or Kun Fatma or Kun Dop directly. The information is up on screen for you already. So just a reminder that on the Monday, 1st of June, we have another session on the Paris office under the topic of the future of outbound tourism of Belgian market. So if you're target Belgian market, please don't miss that. So thank you for watching us once again today, and we hope you have a great weekend. Thank you and สวัสดีค่ะ